Edge is a paid program. The viewpoints expressed on The Edge are not necessarily those of this radio station, its staff, management, or other sponsors. It's time for the Edge Radio broadcast with your host, Daniel Lai. You can join Daniel and his guests as we discover the truth together. Within the continental U.S., call toll-free 1-800-996-9638. Or locally here in Indiana, 359-5593. That's toll-free 1-800-996-9638. Or locally at 359-5593.
And it says here in your bio here that something about the third eye. Now, that when I think of the third eye, I'm always thinking about the dollar bill and the pyramid. Is that the eye you're talking about?
Yes, that's the very eye I'm talking about. That eye goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, the eye of Horus. A lot of people know it as the eye of Ra, but it's really the eye of Horus because it's the right eye.
Wait a minute. Now,
it also can be explained as the eye of Isis, her mystery school that goes all the way back to ancient Egypt.
Now, how do you know that's the right eye, not the left?
Because it's turned a certain way. The left eye is the eye of Ra because it's facing, it's like the left eye. And the other eye is going in the opposite direction, which is the right eye. So you can't actually tell the difference between the right and the left eye, the ancient Egyptian eye. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, CBS used the eye, and it's just an eye. But it's all going back to that same eye that's over the pyramid and the dollar bill. I mean, it's all talking about, it's the symbolism. It's just hidden knowledge. Mm-hmm. Hieroglyphics. And hieroglyphics mean hidden knowledge. So that's all it is, actually. So when you see the Illuminati, the secret societies, the Masons, or different symbolisms that you see on buildings, or like a lot of the networks use different logos and symbols, it all pertains and goes back to that same knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you get a creative inclination to write, to create a story, where does that creativity come from?
I'm inspired by God. I would have to say by God, because I don't do any of the things that other people, claim that they do. I don't do any automatic writing or any of that stuff. I don't do any meditation. It's just like a natural flow that's inside of me. I'll get inspired, and I'll just get up and grab my laptop or some tablets and start writing. And it just comes to me whole and just phenomenal. I can't even explain it to you.
Now, it says here, the copy that you wrote back in 1981 was a foundation that contains the core elements of the Terminator and the Matrix. Well, what is the connection between the Terminator and the Matrix?
Let me explain it to people. If they would get the 6 movies, the 3 Terminator movies and the 3 Matrix movies, and if they looked at it in chronologically order, you would see the whole my whole book. I wrote an epic that spans past, present, and the future. It's the retelling of the second coming of Christ when he comes back again in the future. Matrix in the Bible means womb. So when you look at the Terminator, you're looking at the beginning of the one's life. Where did he come from? Who's his mother? Why is he part of the prophecy? What is man going up against machines? Because, see, I thought of that idea after looking at Star Wars. That's why my whole thing is the opposite of Star Wars. So we'll go back to the Terminator. So when you look at the woman who has the baby, the Terminator, which is the machine, which is created in the future, has to destroy this child that's going to destroy him in the future. So he comes back and tries to kill the baby who has the child. And then the child, you look at the second Terminator, he's like a girl, because the reason why he looks feminine is because I knew in the future that boys and girls would both have long hair, they would wear unisex clothes, earrings, all of them would wear, be wearing earrings and so forth. So I had to hide him out as a girl on paper, so that way it'd be difficult for him to be found. Then at a certain age, when he reached 13, he would go over into the city and hide. Because when you're looking for your enemy, you're going here, there, and everywhere. The most obvious place is right before you. You can't see what's in front of you.
Sophia,
when you go on to the third Terminator,
all right.
And he's a man-child. He hasn't evolved yet. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's afraid. He's being still trying to be killed because you see the 3 times the cyborg comes back 3 times trying to kill him. You know what I'm saying? And each time it's a different one, but it's still the same purpose. And then you go on into the Matrix, where he's evolved at the age of 30. He comes into spiritual, the revolution or the rebellion started. He comes into spiritual power. His human side dies. The rebels come and they point out to him that he's the chosen one to go up against the technology of the machines in the future. So, in other words, Sarah Connor is the mother who have J.C. John Connors, which equals to Neo, an anagram backwards for the one in the same. In his whole journey, which I wrote in epic like Danielle Steele's, when you trace that person or that family from the past onto the present into what they will become in the future. Mm-hmm. What their whole purpose or their whole walk upon the earth is.
Yeah, give me
that's why
give me that anagram again, though.
Terminator comes from my book.
Okay, give me the anagram was what?
Neo is just an anagram for one backwards. It's just like a nickname.
Uh-huh.
O-N-E-N-E-O. The one in the same.
Well, that's not exactly. It's E-N-O or O-N-E.
Yeah, N-E-O-O-N-E. One. Neo is E-N-E-O-O-N-E.
Oh, okay.
One.
Okay. All right, we'll go with that. All right, so...
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Neo is just an anagram for one backwards. It's just a sneaky way of calling him the one.
Well, that was interesting. I suppose John Connor having the abbreviation JC, is that the JC we're thinking of right now?
Yeah, J.C. John Connor's Jesus Christ, because it's a retelling of his story, because Matrix in the Bible means womb, coming out of the womb into enlightenment, into knowledge, or out of ignorance and darkness into knowledge and light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my story, and I wrote it, so I know all about it.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that when you steal somebody's work and you try to recreate it or try to change it or try to make it your own, the writer's work and heart will come out in the work because he's the source, or she's the source. She's the one, or he is the one who created it. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter how many screenwriters get it or try to interpret it. It still is going to come out as the writer, because John Grisham, his book, The Firm, is on the screen. Mm-hmm. He's not the screenwriter, but he's the author. Same as J.R. Tolkien, who did Lords of the Rings. Peter Jackson adapted his work to the screen, but J.R. Tolkien is the author of that work. It doesn't matter who the adapters are, because Hollywood get adapters all the time to adapt somebody's work to the screen, just like the Wachowskis. They're only adapters. They went out and bought Alan Moore's work, V for Vendetta. Alan Moore hated it so bad he didn't even want to put his name on it, but they just did the screenplay and adapted it. Mm-hmm. To the screen, but they're not the author of
Sophia,
V for Vendetta.
Well, so Sophia, that reminds me of another movie, called The Secret Window, where a guy comes to the door and he goes, "You stole my story." Sounds like somebody stole your story, because if you're talking about 1981, that certainly was before any screenplay was made. Let me ask you some things, though. What about this feminine Terminator? Which one is that? The guy that turned into the liquid metal?
That was stolen too. That whole technology of the liquid metal.
Which one was the he/she that you're talking about?
That was in the last Terminator. That was the third Terminator. The she was the last Terminator. They decided to bring in a female.
Yeah. Okay, that one. I got you that way. Okay, so but this conflict between man and machine, how does that fit into seeing into the future? Is there a time when machines will get artificial intelligence and attack us?
That's right. They will evolve. It won't be looking like no iRobot. It won't look anything like iRobot, because there's no metal in the future. If you're born in this future, you're born in the digital age. Mm-hmm. And iron comes from H.G. Wells' old Iron Age concept, because he was born in the Iron Age. So if he's a seer, he's going to see the future, and he's going to pertain it to the things of his era. Mm-hmm. And if you're the real writer of the Matrix and the Terminator, then you know that there is no metal in the future. There is only chips. So we will evolve, but we will eventually become clones. Mm-hmm. That's right. The new human androids will be cloned with superhuman brains, human brains, with chipped implants, chipped liver, kidney, lungs, will be made out of manageable silicon. They'll take a licking, but they'll keep right on ticking. Their body parts will never atrophy, so they'll be able to go into space. They'll do space traveling and so forth. They will even go on to evolve so highly that even, like I have a new science fiction that I've written called The Blueprint of Men, where actually the satellites start taking over. They start evolving, because I wrote The Evolutions of Consciousness. And I can take it to the next level, which is soulless, how the human bodies are cloned without any souls, how man breaks the genoma and start mapping out the DNA, and he become like God upon the earth, because he started creating bodies, but these bodies are soulless, and they all evolve farther on to becoming the artificial intelligence, but chipped. That's right. They're chips is what makes them the machines, because in the future, everything becomes wireless. There is no metal in the future. Everything becomes chips.
Okay, Sophia, you say that you're a seer. What do you see, perhaps say for this year for America? Do you see anything happening?
I'm not that type of seer that I see into the future about what's happening with the people. I see what's going to happen to the world as far as the evolutions of consciousness of man evolving and what the future world is going to look like for man. I don't interfere in what's going on now with man, you know, what things are happening with man and the wars and politics and all that stuff. That stuff right there is minor compared to what's getting ready to happen to the earth.
Okay, what's getting ready to happen?
What I see is the global changes of the world, global warming, what the whole environment is going to look like, how the human androids are going to be born, what the world is going to look like in 113 years. What is that man are doing a distraction?
Okay. What do you see as the normal temperature of the Earth? And how do we determine what is normal of the temperature of the Earth?
Well, if you notice that everything is getting hotter.
No, I didn't really notice it. Here in Indianapolis, it's about 6 degrees with a 20 minus below.
Yeah, well, right now it's that way because this past winter, a lot of the countries in different parts of, even internationally, things were warm. Some people didn't even have, like, snow and stuff. Some places was warm, like New York City was even warm for a while. And if you notice that Denver, Colorado got a lot of snow. I mean, they were they were like buried in it almost, avalanches and so forth.
Yeah,
that tells. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say what you're describing is your take on news reports and that isn't seer evidence. So what do you see? You see
it's all part of the shift, SHIFT, that's coming. Because what happens is the world is going to start evolving or turning the other way. That's right. You know how, like, now the sun rises from the east and goes to the west?
Yeah.
Well, when the shift comes about, it's going to be in the reverse. That's really? Right. It's going to rise from the west and ends in the east. It goes down in the east. It's going to rise in the west. That's right, because wherever water used to be is going back. I saw that the Grand Canyon is going to be an ocean again. That Colorado and parts of Las Vegas is going to be oceanfront property. Utah, you know, it's all of these states are going to be back where water is coming back to where it used to be before. It used to be an ocean in those areas, and it's coming back.
What's the time frame for that, Sophia?
It can happen anywhere between now and 113 years from now. Because what happens is when it does happen, it happens like a thief in the night. The same way Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, Pompeii, and all these, when people were sitting down having dinner, and they were all shocked and surprised because it just happened. And that's the way it's going to happen again.
All right, we have a couple. Sophia, we got to get some questions here for you. Here's one. Do you subscribe to oneness?
Oneness?
Yeah. I guess if Neil's...
I don't even know what oneness is. What is that?
I don't know what it is either. I can't answer, so whoever wrote that, go ahead and explain what a oneness is. I don't know, maybe Neil's the one, and I guess oneness would be one of his. Do you consider yourself now as the Oracle could in the Matrix? She could predict what Neo was going to do. You know, he's getting ready to break that vase. Is that the type of seeing that you do? Do you know, say, for instance,
before it happens?
No. Yeah. Can you tell me the next email question I get in here?
Can I what now?
Can you tell me the next email question I get in here? Can you see from minute to minute or from year to year?
No, I don't see like that. Seeing is not like that. I mean, that's just like a musician or some kind of illusion sideshow at the casinos or some of the places. You know, like, you know, some of the musicians do all that kind of stuff. That's all like fake stuff. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even work like that. I mean, seers, they're in tune to vibrations or energy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how it works. Okay, it doesn't work just like some nightclub act or something.
Okay,
Go ahead.
All right. Here's another question for you. What do you think about the RFID chip? Is this the beginning of this so-called digital world you're talking about?
Well, give me a familiar. Tell me what they're using this chip for, and I can tell you.
To implant into people to track them.
Oh well, yeah. That's the beginning of the implants of the tracking. They're going to say that this is what's going to happen in the future. They're going to start putting those in all the felons so they can track them globally. The LoJacks. That's the LoJack. And what happens is it leads into the future, because in the future the satellites are going to have a disc around you, a gold disc, and that's going to be your jail. You can't get out of it. You can walk around in the population and talk, but you can't stick your hands out of it, and you can't run. Instead of this tracking device around you, like they have it around your ankle now, they're going to have it around your body. Satellites are going to control that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this.
Those are like LoJacks. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know about LoJacks, but I understand that there's another new technology coming out, and of course, everyone was quick to say that the RFID chip implant is the key. It's the mark of the beast. It's different things. There's whole websites. We even have people on this show talking about the RFID chip. But now there's a new technology called the RFID. It's not the RFID, but it does what it does. But it's a tattoo. It doesn't even go in the skin, and it seems to me that's the next level. So. Could it possibly be that those who say that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast are completely wrong, because now we have a brand newer technology that's going to just allow it to be in a non-intravenous tattoo?
Well, see, the reason why they're putting it like that, because in the future when things really get bad because of the war, people are going to start robbing and killing. And that's like a barcode. That will be the next phases of the barcode. Because you can't buy or sell without the mark. Because what happens is the whole world becomes a cashless society. And then everything will be set up in the banks as debit and credits. So when you go into the store and you got that mark, it's like numbers. It's like a barcode underneath your skin for the scanners. Mm-hmm. So in everything you pick up and you utilize or you eat in the store, you're being scanned, your whole body. So when you go out of the store, like you see in a commercial, they'll hand you a receipt. Because that's the beginning of the barcode coming. That is the mark of the beast, because without the mark, you can't buy or sell if you don't have that mark on you. Because I'm telling you, right now, they can rip your eye out for eye scanning for the banks. They can cut your thumb off if you're trying to use the thumb, like your fingers for for identity, to keep from robbing and stealing from the ATMs and so forth. But that's what happens. That's the next level of the barcode that goes into the skin, and it actually has the codes, the numbers to scan you. Mm-hmm. That is the beginning and the mark of the beast.
All right, everyone. We're listening to Sophia Stewart, a gifted writer, visionary who's worked with individuals like Nick Player, Dick Barnett, Louis Gossett Jr., and Shelley Winters. Speaking of these people, Sophia, how is it that what is it you work with them? Were you their personal seer, or what would you do for them?
No, I didn't do. I mean, I'm a gifted seer, but I never saw or anything or paid for seeing. My work has always evolved from me seeing. I've only done futuristic work. When I was working for them, I'm a paralegal, by the way. When I was working for them, this was just back in the early 80s when I was attending USC Film School. Shelley, I took care of her goddaughter, Trilby, and Lou Gossett Jr.'s son, Sati, and Dick Barnett. I used to work for his national magazine, out from New York City. I was a West Coast correspondent. I used to interview celebrities in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm. I didn't understand. So
but I used to work for Channel 13.
So what did you do for them? I wasn't clear on that. I wasn't clear on that. I wasn't clear on your interaction with them. What did you do?
Right. No, I just worked for them in the early 80s when I was a film student. All
right, we have this question here for you. Could Morgellons disease be a way to get people controlled by satellites?
Could what now?
Morgellons disease. I guess it's Morgellons. Morgellons disease. They want to know if that's a way to get people controlled by satellites.
I don't see how a satellite can control a disease, because a satellite will be controlled by transmitters and so forth.
Yeah.
And it will eventually evolve into an artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm. So is that where the idea of Skynet came into being?
I believe so, because I can only tell you what I've seen. My science fiction is called The Blueprint of Man. And I talk about how the whole world becomes wireless. And it's just only chips. And when the shift come about, they had just launched a new satellite that is endowed with human knowledge about the population and humans. And it's like what you call a bitter star, because it has the power to either create or destroy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what has become the god of the world, because all these other people die out and their children are left here. But the children have no knowledge of the satellites or the eyes in the sky.
Well, let me ask you this. What does this advancing technology have to do with this pole shift you're talking about? Is that a penalty imposed on the earth? Is that God saying you're going way the wrong way? I'm going to shift the earth?
It's because man has got so evolved that he continues to keep crossing the thresholds. He keeps breaking the codes. He becomes a living God upon the earth because of his knowledge. And he keeps tampering with it. He creates bodies, and he keeps going farther and farther across the threshold where he can never return. So he becomes so much of a God that he creates these magnificent machinery and technology that start duplicating and creating other technology. This satellite that I'm talking about, that's called Startail, is called Bitter Star, it actually started creating the new breeds, the 4D new breeds bodies. It started actually creating human androids that build the crystal cities in the future.
Okay, let me ask you something. There is a Bible scripture which appears to be one of the few scriptures where there might be fear listed there, or perceived fear from God himself, when he said that he looked down and he saw that the thoughts of man were continually on the evil, and it is as if he said that if they continue, then they will become like one of us. So he had to prevent that. Almost to me, I know obviously I don't want to get struck by lightning here, but I'm saying, he was worried about that happening. So aren't you saying that, as you said just a while ago, that man is becoming gods? Isn't God afraid, or isn't he worried that man will become like him, knowing the secret codes of the universe? And is this pole shift a penalty for that?
Well, in a way it is, because man did it himself. God didn't really bring about the shift upon the earth. Man brought it about because he was so greedy. Because you got to realize when man started utilizing fossil fuel, and he kept just taking out, extincting different animals and birds and insects, because God created balance. Everything was created to work with each other. Man, the animals, the insects, the trees, the water, everything was created with balance. But if you take out the balance, you create an imbalance. And what happens is you destroy your own civilization or your own self, because you have knocked off the balance that God created to keep you alive and keep everything going. We were supposed to have already had new technology. No, we were supposed to use clean technology, and we were supposed to have had a clean environment. There were things created like machines, engines that ran off of vibrations, that ran off of water and electrical. But the oil barons, and they wanted to keep the way of life with greed and money. So they actually killed out their own future and their own kids.
Okay, hold on there, Sophia. Why would there be oil in the ground if man wasn't supposed to get it?
That wasn't the point. Man was supposed to use things as it advanced, but when the newer technology came, man was supposed to make changes. He didn't make the changes. We were supposed to be more advanced than technology in a way of life. Instead of doing the same thing with fossil fuel, we wasn't supposed to continue that.
Well, I'm seeing some circular reasoning here, because if man advances in his technology, he's going to end up with this total silicone-based society.
Well, that happened anyway because man was greedy. That it all adds up if you would look and read some of my work, because you have to read the work to understand. It all going to end up that way, but it was all caused by greed. Mm-hmm. Man killed that. It's like if you look at the old civilizations of man, you still see the buildings standing, pyramids, Stonehenge, the Aztec pyramids, all kind of monuments and buildings are still as testament. But then you ask yourself, where's the people? What happened to them? There's not even hardly any bones of them left. What happened?
All right.
Well, that's the same thing that's going to happen to man again.
Okay.
Because God has wiped them out. When they got so evil, they got wiped out, or they wiped themselves out because they kept just taking, consuming. But the Indians, the Native American Indians, told them you have to put things back. You have to have balance. But if you just keep taking, you actually destroy your own future from greed.
Okay. Sophia, we need to go to commercial break, so just stay with us through the break, please. Okay?
Okay.
All right, everybody, you're listening to Sophia Stewart, mother of the Matrix. If you have a question for Sophia, go to the JM.com website and click on the link right in her bio section. We'll be right back.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
Let's go back to our newsmaker line and bring Sophia Stewart, the mother of the Matrix, back on. Hello, Sophia.
Yes, I'm here.
Well, Sophia, you're talking about a world where we all become one with the machine. It sounds like you won't be able to tell the machine from the man. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct. That's why when people read my book, it's Third Eyes on Amazon, I put a tape in there, Solus. Solus is SOUL-LESS. Is born without souls. It tells you how the human androids are born upon the earth. That's the next. Those are the real machines that Neo fights with. They're cloned with human brains, but they got manageable silicone implants, kidney, liver, lungs, heart, the whole 9 yards. And you won't be able to tell them the difference between a human and a human android. You won't be able to tell the difference because man is able to create bodies. He started out with the test tubes and so forth and that artificial, inseminations, and then he went on to cloning. Mm-hmm. And that's how he created these bodies that you cannot tell the difference between a human and a human android with chips.
Yeah. Do you ever see in your seeing efforts there, is there any alien component to all this?
It's alien because it's composition that's different from humans. Alien only means that it's not the same. A lot of people think aliens are ETs, but aliens are not ETs. ET is extraterrestrials. They mean something that comes from another dimension, another planet. But alien means just a different composition, meaning a different breed. Meaning that man can function as half a machine and half human, or he will be all machine and just have chips and have the human body.
Well, Sophia, I don't think you're too far off there. I mean, every day we're getting news reports of implants right into the brain. I saw a Discovery Channel thing where they stuck a chip right into a man's brain, and they were able to, with his thoughts, he was able to move a mouse pointer on a computer screen.
And that's correct. And see, that's why I want people to read my work, because I'm talking about the evolutions of consciousness, meaning the path of man, how he evolves upon the earth as he goes farther and farther into the future. Mm-hmm. And this is what my whole work is about. That's what the Matrix and the Terminator is about. Man versus machine, and what happens when man keeps evolving. And when the machines start taking over. It's not metal. It's not the cyborgs. Those are people who don't have the gift to see. They're using some of H.G. Wells' Orion's Age concepts to bring in there. Mm-hmm. But the person who actually writes this work knows, they are the seers. They know that it's all about the chips and the cloned bodies. When you look at Frankenstein, Mary Shelley, she had a vision of a cloned body, but she couldn't make it understood. She's a writer, so she's talking about sewing up body parts. But Frankenstein is what she saw as a cloned body. Mm-hmm. The first soulless body that's killing humans.
Well, I would think there's a whole nations now of soulless bodies killing humans, so I don't know how far we got to wait for the future for that. Hey, here's a question.
No, I'm talking about in the sense of like a creature that's instinct is only to survive.
Yeah, well,
I'm not talking about fighting over money and oil. Uh-huh. I'm talking about creatures whose instinct is that on the animal level. It's only caring about survival, because that's what's going to happen to the chipped, soulless bodies in the future. It's only going to be instinctive.
Okay. All right, how about this question here? Have you ever heard of the government selectively curing people of diseases through some means of electric current?
Well, I can believe that, because we're composed of energy, and there's energy grids upon the earth. And the government knows this. Not many people understand that all the energy grids that are cycling the earth and the electrical charges that happens with the body. And, there's cures that way, because they're beginning to understand what the body is all about.
All right.
More so than they did 100 years ago.
All right, Sophia, we have this come in. It's a clarification. Remember, a listener asked the question about the oneness. This person describes the oneness as the infinite consciousness of Christ, a consciousness or Christ that is in everything, the Christ Spirit in all of us, rather than, and then, of course, they go on to say that they believe Christianity is Antichrist because it's reduced man down to just being controlled by religion, I suppose. So I guess the oneness is that we're all together with God in one being. Is that
we are this one collective mind. We're all one, meaning that we're all able to understand or to perceive each other's knowledge or instincts, or we're able to communicate as one, because there's only one body, one power, one thought. Man became vain by giving equal power to something that didn't exist. There is no equal power to God. Like the devil and God are equal. There's just one power. If you look at the battery, that's only one power. There's a negative charge and a positive charge. Electricity, AC, DC.
Negative and positive energies.
When you reverse anything, like Neo, N-E-O, is O-N-E, it's one in one way. Like live, L-I-V-E, and you reverse it, it's E-V-I-L. Or searching for Nemo is searching for the omen. That's omen backwards. A lot of people don't realize that there's something going in one direction, like the Pisces, the fish. One of them is going in one direction, and the other one is going in the opposite direction, but it's the same power. And when you flip it, all you're doing is flipping it.
But couldn't you also
from one direction to the other?
All right, but couldn't you also say that's just coincidence?
No, it's not coincidence. Trust me, there is no coincidence about it. When there are no accidents, no mistakes. Like if you have one power, like one energy, one force, this force is either it's going to heat up our house and make us warm, or it's going to burn down our house and burn us up. There's no two energies that come into the house. It's just that one energy. When it flows righteously, It takes care of us. When it flows the other way, it's chaos.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just put
it tears down and destroys.
I just put the name Bush down here, and the anagram is Hubs. So, is that anything right there? Is he like he's the Hubs of all time, or what? Anything? I mean, can you do that with anything?
The hub. Look, look. God, G-O-D. But the opposite is D-O-G, dog. What? The opposite of dog. You know what a dog is, but if G-O-D is God, is good, is going in one direction, is going negative in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Man has always flipped the script. Whenever something was righteous, he just flipped it the other way. And it's been going on like that forever. Look, when you live a backwards life, that's an ignorant life. That's devoid of knowledge. And when you live a life that's just livable and going forward, that's a good life. But a bad life is the lack of knowledge or ignorance or backwards or seeing backwards. That's what it was talked about in the Bible when Lot and his children was going forward and his wife looked back. To look back is to live an evil or backwards life, devoid of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about the reverse speech? Is that part of this reverse description you're talking about? I mean, people say that you're actually saying something in reverse that you can't be understood.
Like when they play the music, like they play rock music, when you start reversing that music, you hear all kind of evil things being said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever played rock music backwards, but you do hear evil things.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen when people played it backwards and heard things.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's going forward, it's saying some good stuff, but when it's played backwards, it's saying some evil stuff.
Well, okay. Well, conversely, though, if you play rap music, you hear evil stuff. So if you play rap music backwards, would you hear good stuff?
I don't know, because no one has ever talked about playing rap music backwards, but I'm sure it would be pretty interesting to see what would happen if it was played backwards. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I would like for some of the fans to do it and see what happens.
The Ho's will become O's, so I don't know, man. All right, we have this question here. If people would come together and demand our governments stop producing WMDs and started to share the mineral rights of the earth, you think man, and when this message continues, you think man could build a tower to reach heaven and maybe this time God wouldn't destroy it? If man started doing good things, is the gist of it, and built that same tower that it was destroyed the first time, you think God would welcome him, saying, look, now you've done it right?
Let's put it like this.
That's a great question.
20% of the population owns 80% of the wealth. And 80% of the people only gets 20% of the wealth. So who's going to build the tower? Because the 20% of the people that only have the 80% of the population who only has 20% of the wealth will never be able to build a tower to heaven. And those are the ones who need heaven the most. And the people the 20% that own all the wealth, they deprived from, the 20% own all the 80% of the wealth, they don't need to build towards heaven because they got heaven right here on earth. How about that one?
I like it. That's great. Yeah. But now, on the other hand, on the opposite there, didn't a lot of those people that have money, didn't they really work for it or something? Some kind of crazy thing like that?
What, the 20%?
Yeah. I mean, isn't somebody like...
Well, let's put it like this. They had the knowledge that they kept from you. Because knowledge is what creates wealth, and a lack of it is what creates poverty.
Mm-hmm.
So if they kept all the knowledge to themselves, then they deprived you of any wealth.
Mm-hmm. So should the rich man...
So I don't know if they earned it or not.
Uh-huh.
Keeping it and getting it, who knows?
Well, do you think...
Who knows if they earned it? I know they kept it from the masses.
Yeah, they don't kept it. There's no doubt about it. They don't want to share it either. But I'm just saying...
Why would they want to share it?
Well,
because they get to dominate and control the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
If you own 80% of the wealth, you control the whole world. People got to think and do and act the way you want them to. In fact, you own all the networks, and so you get to tell them what to do, what to drink, what to eat, how to think, who to worship, and what to read.
Wow. All right, we have this question coming in. Do you think man is controlling the weather by satellites?
Why not? Satellites has been up there for years, and man has the capability and the knowledge of God.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving farther and farther into that knowledge. Like I told you, he will soon crack the He'll crack all the codes, because math is the key to all hidden knowledge and all secrets upon the earth.
What is?
Not the written word, but math, which is numbers, materialize all things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so is God just a mathematical equation?
He's encoded in the Bible. He's vibrations. He's ancient, sacred geometry.
Really? Is he encoded?
Look in the Bible, and you'll see the Bible encoded with numbers. From birth, from the beginning, when you come into the earth and when you leave the earth, you're numbered.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Ecclesiastes. There's a time for everything, a time to build, a time to tear down, a time to give, a time to take, a time to weep, a time to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there.
A time to take the rich man's money. Hey, let me ask you something. Is this mathematical definition of God, is it in any other holy book?
I wouldn't know. Because I don't read a whole lot of different holy books.
Mm-hmm.
I've read the Bible before, and I can tell you what the Bible is about, and I can tell you that the Bible is encoded with numbers. That's what the Da Vinci Code was trying to tell. But said the Da Vinci Code missed the whole point. Because what it was trying to say is not that Jesus had a daughter, that the feminine energy has been hidden for 4,000 years. The feminine energy is the dominant energy. Mm-hmm. That controls the world, that's been hidden and suppressed, and repressed, and oppressed,
mm-hmm.
and depressed.
I wonder if Dan Brown...
But it's the dominant energy.
Yeah. Well,
that's what having a female oracle is about.
Yeah.
Because in the Bible, all the male prophets herald the coming of Christ, but the second coming of Christ should be heralded by a female oracle, which is, look, in the beginning was the Word. But wisdom was also with the Word. Wisdom is understanding, which is the female energy of God. So the Word and wisdom is one.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that there are some out there that would like Dan Brown to feel the feminine energy of their fist in his face for writing that thing, because it just really messes up a lot of people's theology, you know.
Well, he didn't come out with what he was trying to come out. He just kept it still a mystery. But bringing it about Jesus having a daughter, what he's trying to say is, in the Da Vinci Code, that the female energy is the dominant energy that's been hidden from the world. The dominant energy is spoken about in the Bible. When it says wisdom is more valuable than diamonds and pearls, wisdom is the female energy, the energy that is a part of God. Same as the male energy.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, you know, all kind of energy is good kind of energy. I mean, you know, but let me ask something. Well, let's talk about the bad energy, though. Is as we go into the future and we become this hybrid type of human, are there demons that are at the same time trying to become human while we're trying to become unhuman?
I think that there's whatever man creates in his thought world will materialize. That's why God was telling man in the Bible to be careful about his thoughts, to think good thoughts, to create good things, to do good things, so his world can become good. But if man dwelled on the negative and he thought bad things and he created all kinds of things, those things would materialize in his world, but they would be in his world, whoever was the creator. Mm-hmm. That's how people materialize things, that they need to reprogram, to reshape their minds, their mental thoughts.
Yeah.
That changes people's worlds for the better.
So do you think we can change things with our thoughts?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
People's thoughts can be destructive, and people's thoughts can be pure, and people's thoughts can be good.
All right. On what level do thoughts affect natural outcome? I mean, is it electrical energy flying through the air? Is it a spirit shooting out of your brain? What is it?
It's giving off energy. It's giving off energy, because every time we give off energy, we can give off negative energy or we can give off positive energy. Mm-hmm. When we give off positive energy, positive things happen for us. Mm-hmm. It creates positive environments and things for us. But when we give off negative impulses and negative energy, it also creates negative things to happen to us. Mm-hmm. We create our own heaven and hell right here on earth by the way we create with our thoughts
Yeah.
and what we think of others. And if we judge others and what we sow and reap upon the earth and what we do.
Sophia,
it has everything to do with our world.
I want to talk about some of the parallels in the Matrix, by the way, right now. Who was Trinity? What's that all about?
Trinity, when I created, her name is Trifini. They changed it and flipped it to Trinity. But it's the same character. So I created all the characters in Matrix 1. There were every one of them, developed them.
Is this documented somewhere?
It took me 3 years. Trinity was created like an angel to play a major part, but always in the background. Mm-hmm. It was love in my book, but it was no sex. It was never any sex like you saw in the second Matrix where they're having a big orgy and all that stuff.
There,
and the way they created all the negativity was not the way the work was supposed to be.
Yeah, see, they ruined that.
It was supposed to be the evolutions of consciousness and how man evolves on his path into what he becomes and what he has to be up against the technology and so forth.
Well, yeah, I mean, after she gave it up, it's just like, I didn't really care for the series after that. I was kind of hoping they just kind of, you might think that, but you would never want to see that happen because to me it's like the end of the show. What about Mouse? What was he all about?
Mouse was about, there was a character his name is Trev, that I created that was 20 years old. He didn't have that many abilities.
Now, that guy had some dirty magazines behind the computer there. That dude did. He's all messed up.
No, I didn't know about that.
He probably lived on Hot Pockets and stuff like that.
Well, a lot of people don't know when they wrote the Matrix and stuff, they didn't really write the first Matrix. They made it into a giant comic book because I had sent them my work for them to make it into a comic book. So what they did was they couldn't really touch my work, so they made 500 to 600 storyboards. They made it into a comic book, and then they shot the script from the storyboards. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't even know that. Mm-hmm. That's why Matrix 2 and 3 is so different from 1. Because they didn't write or do a script on 1. In fact, they had a copyright, the 94 copyright with the Matrix name on it. When my attorneys pulled the script up, it bear no resemblance to the movie. It was just talking about Neo siphoning gas from his father's minivan to put into his Pinto. And then they tried to buy it from me in April of '99, the Matrix movie. They tried to buy it from me. Mm-hmm. And what happened was I aborted the settlement because I wanted my name recognition and credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that they do these settlements all the time and put gag orders on them.
Okay.
And you can't talk about it because when you talk about it, they take the money back.
All right. Well, I want to go through a couple more characters here. What about Switch? Was she a transvestite?
No, I created a character named Zona that was on the ship, and they just created the opposite, one called Switch.
I mean, isn't she like a he/she though? You can't really tell.
Well, the Wachowskis, some of them have sexual gender problems or something. I've heard it's all in the news.
Well, she definitely has some kind of gender problem.
So that could be, why. And they supposedly have written a lesbian flick, so that might be something to do with them, because it has nothing to do with what I wrote. Mm-hmm. My characters are all, I created them to go, to be like humans, mm-hmm. to be, to have the beauty of them, like not any negative or anything like that, because the rebels on the ship were supposed to be helping Neo to become what he was going to become in his path, not to be deviated from his path or any deviant or anything like that.
Okay.
No, it wasn't meant to be that.
Okay. What about Cypher? Was he the devil? I mean, he had that kind of goatee-looking devil
look. What happened is the woman was supposed to be the one who betrayed him, and he was supposed to, because she fell in love with him, and she was the one who was supposed to betray him, and he was supposed to rescue her, not a man. I mean, they flipped that with Cyphers and put that he's rescuing Morpheus. I mean, that to me was kind of stupid, because men don't rescue other men. They rescue women. but they don't go and rescue males. Males are supposed to be strong enough to break their bondage from anybody who tampers with them.
Yeah. Well, in the end, Morpheus did break his chains when he went running out to the helicopter.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that was stupid, because in the book I created, it was supposed to be where the woman falls in love with him, and she's the one that betrayed him, but she betrays him before she realizes she's fallen in love with him, and he's supposed to rescue her.
Mm-hmm. And so Agent Smith, now who's that?
I created the special effects concepts where they would become the same men. You would multiply and divide and give his power over as he become the same men. So they had sold that concept, and I guess they didn't really understand that concept. But that came from me. When you saw like the pilot dying and him and Agent Smith become the same men, and when you see the virtue figures that were stolen from me, I created the virtue figures, because when I saw the holograms that Lucas had done in Star Wars, I figured that why can't they fight with images that looks exactly like them, but their bodies are in the ship? But the image can be projected to fight anywhere in any spot. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're seeing in the Matrix.
All right. Now let's go back. All right. We need to go back to our questions here, coming in from the Fast Blast of the Edge. What do you know about Lilith? Lilith.
They're talking about Lilith. Something. I know something about it. It's something like the vampire or something.
Well, they've got her listed here as supposedly the Queen of Heaven of some sort. Maybe the Mary that's been worshipped.
Well, they're talking about something to do with Gnostics or something like that, because I've heard it before. I've read about it on some website. Mm-hmm. But it has nothing to do with what I wrote, and it has nothing to do, with what I created.
Mm-hmm. So you say you thought of these things in 81. Is there some documentation that you actually did that?
Yes, I got copyrights in my book. When people go on Amazon.com and buy the book The Third Eye and put in Sophia Stewart, they can read the book for themselves. Mm-hmm. I got the copyrights, 1981, 83, and 84. My copyrights come before any Terminator movie, any Matrix movie, any other movie that's talking about man versus machine. Mm-hmm. I wrote it in 1980 while I was a film student at USC Film School.
So do you have a lawsuit going, or are you just saying, well, that's just the way it is?
I'm still in the courts. I got new lawyers. The first former lawyers, I had 4 of them. I filed criminal corruption charges with the FBI. Against them, because they prevented me from going to trial. And that's all they did, was prevent me from going to trial. My case is not over. I got a second legal team that's just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And part of my case is getting ready to be settled, because just a fraction of it is getting ready to be settled, because there's 8 defendants. Mm-hmm. So one of the defendants is getting ready to settle the case out.
So maybe you could write a story about people who steal other people's stories and make movies out of them.
Well, I am, because that's why it's Volume 1, and my book is called Volume 1, because I got the other part of Volume 2, which actually tells people about how the studios steal and how they try to make things their own, just teaching people about the theft and how it was all done, and the conspiracy, which I can't reveal all of it right now, but it's very phenomenal, because a lot of people need to know that under the copyright laws, if you steal anybody's work and you use it and you don't give that person credit, you have what you call a fraudulent copyright. Right now, the people who are claiming they own the Terminator and the Matrix, they don't own the Terminator and the Matrix, because they used my book to create them. And I have the evidence to prove it, so does the FBI. The FBI is even reading my book. They wanted a copy, and they're reading the book. So they got fraudulent copyrights. If I want to right now, I could go on eBay and sell it to anybody, those copyrights to the Matrix and the Terminator, because I own them. Mm-hmm. Until they go in there and change those emissions and those copyrights, they have committed fraud. And they can't enter those copyrights into any law court. They can't even no trial. That's why they didn't want to go to trial, because they couldn't enter those copyrights or their movies or their scripts, because that would send them to jail and their attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't even know that.
Okay. All right, back to our edge questions here. Sophia, do you believe that there is a devil?
I believe there's negative energy. I don't believe there's the devil. I believe man is the beast who enslaves his own kind. And I believe that man uses knowledge, and he uses knowledge in a negative way. Because like I told you, I believe there's one power. But man can reverse that power, and he can create or he can destroy with that same power. So if a devil does exist, because look at the word devil. Devil is the evil. That's all it is, the evil. That's what devil is backwards. So it's the evil that man perpetrates on his own kind or his own self. That's what I believe in, that man is the beast who enslaves his own kind. If that's what you want to call the devil, then hey, that's who he is for me.
Mm-hmm. So you saying the devil is the person in the mirror?
The devil is the person, anyone. It doesn't matter if it's the man in the mirror, or it's the brother or the cousin or the father or the mother.
Uh-huh.
Anyone who takes that energy and uses it negative against his own kind or own self is the devil, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you're speaking euphemistically, though. You're not really saying he is. He's just a type. He's just doing devil things.
Exactly, because look, there is no good organization upon the earth, and there is no one bad organization. It's simply good and bad that exists side by side. Because look, there's bad judges, bad cops, good cops, bad everything, bad people, good people. Mm-hmm. Good and bad is an energy that dwells in each and every one of us.
Negative and positive energy.
Balance, because God created balance. You can be a devil tomorrow and an angel tonight, because it's inside of you. Or you can be good all the time, or you can be bad all the time. You can have some truth in you, or you can have no truth in you.
How are you? How do you describe yourself?
Balanced.
All right. So you got a little bad going there, do you, Sophia?
I have what now?
You have a little bad going there, about 50% bad going?
What's the bad going?
Well, bad going. I mean, you say you got a balance of good and evil. I'm saying, what are you doing that's bad?
No, I said it's balanced. I'm balanced, meaning that it exists in me, but I don't utilize that. I utilize good because I want good things to come to me. And you reap what you sow. So I sow good things. Mm-hmm. The more truth you speak, the more truth is inside of you. The deeper truth gets with you. Mm-hmm. So the more good you do in the world, the greater you become.
All right. We've got more questions.
What I'm saying? So my energy, I spend my energy towards good, towards healing, towards helping.
Mm-hmm. And I wish a lot more people did that. That's good. Yeah, I think that's a worthy calling, and hopefully all of our listeners are doing the same thing, using their lives for good. We have this question here. This person says they are living in Florida, but for quite some time they've got a feeling they should leave the state very soon, and they say that they've had dreams of their mother who passed away coming to them in their dreams, saying of impending disasters. Do you feel like any sort of huge natural disaster is going to hit South Florida?
It could, because whenever any season comes upon it, it's been going on for years. I mean, that is not even, I'm talking about that's just common sense that Florida, being out on the coast and everything, is going to be hit with some type of bad weather or some type of natural disaster. But if you get a warning and your mom or someone is coming to you and they're already deceased and they're telling you to get up and do something, then you should do that.
Okay, so you're good.
You should follow your thoughts.
All right, so you're good with
like that comes to you.
All right, so you're good with following visitations of dead people.
Well, I don't know if they're dead or not. All I know is they're deceased on the earth. That's one. Yeah, they're dead. But I mean, if something.
So the dead can come back. The dead can come back. Is what you're saying?
Well, maybe they're not coming back because they're not walking. But if someone is getting some kind of dream, that could be a warning from their subconscious. That could be something higher, greater, like...
could that be their virtual self-image that remains?
It could be any subconscious mind talking to them. It could just be them wanting to go and do something better for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, if it's telling them to do something good, then they should do it.
Yeah.
Because good is good and bad is bad. And if something is telling you to do something bad, you should ignore it.
Okay, so if somebody comes in a dream and tells you to do something bad, is that somebody that died who had lived negatively their whole life and now?
I have no
so
idea
they
about
really
that
didn't.
because I don't talk to the dead. And when the Bible tells you that you shouldn't even entertain the dead because the dead are liars, I think that would be true. You should not entertain anything that anybody tell you to do something negative, whether it's a negative energy, a negative entity, a negative ghost or anything, because negativity is negativity. It doesn't matter what is the source. If it's not telling you to do something that you should do, you should just leave it alone.
So, Sophia, what part of the Matrix symbolizes hell?
The Matrix that I created was not even about any part of hell at all, period. It was just telling about the second coming of Christ and when he comes back again and how his evolutionary path, how he would come back, what would be going on when he comes back upon the earth again. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything about heaven and hell. It was just about what would happen with the people, what would happen with him when he came back.
Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at the Matrix then, the second coming of Christ, is he coming back to get the people out of those bowls of goo that their energy is being sucked out? Is he going to get those people out, or is he going to lead the people who's already made it out into some sort of rebellion?
Well, the people in the goog or whatever like that, I didn't put them in the goog. That part right there was put in there by the Wachowskis, so maybe you need to ask them that question, because I would never have created anything to put any people in the group. My whole thing was about the people being deceived and about the illusions upon the earth and how man create illusions and how the machinery in the world create ignorance and lies in the machine, and how you're locked into the Matrix, meaning that you're locked in and you don't know about truth and you don't know about knowledge, and you're in a world that's created of lies and illusions that keeps you from making spiritual choices about your spirituality. Because you can't, if you're in bondage and you're dominated by fear and ignorance, you really can't make any choices about your spirituality and your decisions about God. You don't know who He is.
Mm-hmm. Well, if
you can't free yourself from the Matrix because you don't know the difference between ignorance and lies and truth.
Mm-hmm. If you're trapped in the Matrix and you're making these bad spiritual decisions, does God hold you accountable for being stuck in the Matrix?
God doesn't hold you accountable for anything. Man judges himself and he judges others. So I think man holds himself, his own self accountable, and he holds others accountable by the ways or who he has judged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That God doesn't judge man. Man judges himself and judges others. But only God knows the truth of a man's heart. So only God can judge us if there needs to be a judge.
Mm-hmm. How do we say, who may be, I'm not going to put myself in there because who knows, I might be stuck in the Matrix somewhere, but those that have escaped out of the Matrix, those who are walking this spiritual enlightenment, so to speak, how do they throw a lifeline to somebody who's in the Matrix to pull them out?
You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. In other words, you can try to rescue a person from the Matrix. You can try to rescue anybody from any kind of danger. But this is the way it's going to go. Either they're going to leave with you, or they're going to accept the truth, or they're going to stay there and dwell in what they're dwelling in. That's what I just said. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink.
Well, can you determine if the horse is thirsty, though? How do you determine if the horse is thirsty? And at least that give you a better shot to differentiate.
You're not supposed to determine if the horse is thirsty. You're supposed to take him there, and whether he drink it or not, or he just falls dead, that's left up to him. Because spirituality is an individual thing. It's not a group thing. You come into the world by yourself, and you leave out of the world by yourself. You ain't coming with a group of people, and you're not going to leave with a group of people, and your staying or leaving don't depend on a group of people. So it doesn't matter if you take 20 horses to the water. If they don't drink it and they fall dead right there and they never drink it, then that's left up to them.
But you would say to take as many horses to the water as you can find and then hope for the best.
Just take them to the water and tell them about truth. And if they accept truth, they accept truth. If they don't accept truth,
at what point
then there's nothing you can do about it. Because, look, the Bible is clear on that. It says that there are certain people whose name is written in the book of life. But everybody's name is not written in the book of life. And everybody's not going to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Those who are meant to be will be, and those who are not meant to be won't. Like the Bible says, let the blind lead the blind and let the dead bury the dead, for I assure you they will never see and never hear the words of God.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They will never be saved.
All right. At what point do you give up on the horse, obviously representing a person? At what point do you give up the horse and say, well, this horse is not thirsty, I need to go try to water another horse?
You never give up on the horse. You always continue to tell the horse the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And one day the horse might wake up and revelation may hit him and he might say, wow, let me drink from that.
Mm-hmm.
So you never give up on anyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
You always push for good no matter what. No matter what's up against you, no matter what's ridiculing you or trying to stop you, you should always do good.
Mm-hmm. Love never fails, huh? All right.
Love never fails.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have this here. And I think you basically went around the question as to whether or not there's a hell. You obviously said there's not a hell in your version of the Matrix. But
well, I say people create their own heaven and hell on earth. I never said it wasn't no hell. I just said that if that's what you're creating with your thought world, then that's what there is for you.
Okay.
All right. I don't create that for myself. Okay. So I'm not speaking about, I've never experienced no hell because I have never created it for myself.
Well, God bless you, Sophia.
I always dwell in good thoughts and try to keep...
All right.
Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Got another question. Is there a rapture in the Matrix?
There's no rapture in the Matrix, but it's a rapture in my other work. There's a rapture in Soulless and the Blueprint of Man. When people start to read that work, they will see the rapture.
Mm-hmm. Because
I believe in the rapture that it's the opposite. That the meek shall inherit the earth, so all the good people will be here on the earth, and the bad people are the ones who are going to get taken out.
What do you think about people saying that the money of the evil people, they might as well start turning it over to God's people because we're going to get it anyway? What do you think about that kind of theology?
Well, in the scripture it says every 7 years the debt is canceled, meaning that if whoever struggled for 7 years, what was on top will go to the bottom, and what was at the bottom will rise to the top, because every 7 years change will come. So your circumstances will change. If you've been struggling for 7 years, you're going to have 7 prosperous years from 2007 to 2014.
Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about. Preach on, girl.
It's the truth. It's the truth. It's scripture, and people can start seeing that their whole lives are starting to reverse.
Okay,
everybody that from 1999 on to 2006 have struggled. That's 7 years.
Yeah.
And every 7 years, even the credit reports wipe out the bad credit every 7 years.
Yeah, that's a coincidence, isn't it? Huh.
It's no coincidence. It's practicing the spiritual laws of God.
Good deal. I got
a lot of people have been practicing these spiritual laws and writing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Carnegie,
mm-hmm.
Napoleon Hill. I could go on and on. Vincent Peale.
Zig Ziglar.
A lot of these people have gotten their spiritual laws and so forth from the Bible,
mm-hmm.
and have made some most successful books.
Mm-hmm.
Even Rich Man, Poor Man.
Mm-hmm.
They use spiritual laws. Even the Illuminati, the Masons, all of these people in society, secret societies, have used in the laws of God. And these laws are in the Bible, living laws that people can use and change their lives for the better.
Interesting.
It's there.
Okay. Well, I guess that bodes well for the Edge broadcast because we're beginning to let the website be used for other aspiring talk show hosts. So we're just giving that away. All right, guys. Here, Sophia, anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'd like for people to go to Amazon.com and buy my book, The Third Eye. Put in the search box, Sophia Stewart, The Third Eye, and you'll read about my work. And you will see for yourself. There's documents, court documents, evidence of access, FBI evidence and paperwork, my copyrights, the whole 9 yards, how the Matrix and the Terminator were created. And people can find out the truth for themselves. Because I published this book so people can find out the truth for themselves. Don't let anybody lie to you. Seek out truth always through self. Because that way, once you find out something for yourself, no matter who comes along, you won't be turned, you won't be changed, you won't have doubt.
Okay. All right, well said. Sophia, thank you for coming on the Edge Radio broadcast.
And I enjoyed it very much.
All right.
Forward to coming back again.
Okay. You have been listening to The Edge with Daniel Lott. To subscribe to The Edge newsletter, log on to theedgeam.com. That's theedgeam.com.